Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening if you're joining us from other parts of the globe. We're certainly glad you joined us today at this Cambium Networks hosted event. We're very glad to have with us today a special guest from Facebook. We're going to be talking about monetizing a Wi-Fi hotspot network and some of the tools that you can get from Facebook and from Cambium Networks that really enable a full monetization and management platform, all enabled from the cloud. And the beautiful thing about this solution is that it's offered at no cost, no recurring fees, there's no license fees to use these services. From Cambium Networks, we've been partnering with Facebook for many years in this project and have had great success around the globe. So let's go ahead and jump right in and start our presentation. And if some folks join a little bit later, they'll have to catch up with us because we're the early birds. We're doing it right. So I thank you all for joining us today. So Cambium has been partnering with Facebook now for a long time in this project and deploying express Wi-Fi access points and systems around the globe. And so now we're the #1 global Facebook Express Wi-Fi vendor. In Africa, we're 10 times more deployments with Cambium Networks than the next Express Wi-Fi vendor. So we're a significant global presence and offering lots of services across the globe, from North America in Mexico, Central America, South America, Africa, Oceania, Asia. So really covering the globe in different markets and different applications. And so what we find when we start crossing the globe and looking at the applications, we find a lot of commonality. A lot of things that people want to do are kind of the same, and some of the challenges that they face are the same. And so we've been able to help them by taking some of the use cases that work in one area and do some modifications to it and help them to apply it in other areas. So today we have myself. I'll introduce myself first, and then I'll introduce Michael. So my name is Darren Hermans. I'm a product manager at Cambium Networks. I work in our enterprise Wi-Fi group. And I'm responsible for the enterprise Wi-Fi access points that we sell into multiple markets. And Wi-Fi hotspots is one of those key markets for us. Michael, if you don't mind, please go ahead and introduce yourself if you can.
Thank you, Darren. Michael Fletcher. I'm on the business development side at Facebook, looking after OEM partnerships. And happy to be here, and thank you for sharing your time with us.
Thank you very much, Michael. So we're going to be talking today about these Wi-Fi hotspots. Now, initially, we have to say that these services are available. They're designed for emerging markets, and they're designed to really bring connectivity and communication to markets across the globe that are underserved. And there are many markets that have very low access to internet resources. And so government agencies, they realize the value. And in fact, the World Economic Forum published some information about the gross domestic product benefits, the health benefits, and just the benefits to the public in general: better health, better access to education, and better gross domestic product for the country when internet access improves. And so that's really the goal of this program, is to bring these resources to those markets. Now, many people here joining our call today may not serve in those markets. You may not have an application in those markets, those service provider business and across the globe, but you still want to understand how to monetize Wi-Fi. So a lot of the things we're going to talk about today will still apply to applications even in North America or Europe, if you're looking at how to monetize a Wi-Fi network. One of the things that we have learned over the past several years of doing this is that there is no single method, not one tool, not one lever that actually works effectively every time to monetize a Wi-Fi network. And actually the best solutions will combine multiple elements, multiple paths to revenue, to bring it all together to expand a Wi-Fi network. And that's really the key here, is look for multiple levers, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. So if you work in one of these markets, then this Express Wi-Fi product is perfect for you. If you don't work in one of these markets, some of the things we are talking about will also benefit your business. So give us a call. We can help you out to understand some of these things in different markets as well. So mobile network operators, MVNOs, they're looking to expand the value of their mobile plans. They obviously they sell cellular services, they sell data services, and by bundling in Wi-Fi access points, they can expand their brand. They can reach more people. They can use their reseller channels to expand their market. Internet service providers, whether they're fixed wireless broadband service providers, fiber service providers, or satellite-based, VSAT-based service provider, internet service providers, they're all looking to use this kind of technology to reach remote locations, to reach more people, and to generate goodwill, increase ARPU, the average revenue per user. And this technology can do this. One of the key things for these internet service providers is the ability to expand your brand, to tell more people who you are and what services you offer. Some of the key vertical markets, public-private partnerships is very, very important. This has been what's been very successful around the globe. Many governments see the value of adding connectivity for people, but they can't afford the infrastructure. Some private enterprises have some of the infrastructure, but also need some assistance from the government to expand their infrastructure to support different applications. So a good public and private partnership is proven to be a successful business model to help really help both. It's a situation that helps both the private and public sector to give people more access to online content. Education and small enterprise, particularly as with Cambium networks, we have the fixed wireless broadband technology that allows you to use fixed wireless to deliver speeds from gigabit up to 3.8 gigabits per second. Tremendous speeds just over fixed wireless broadband. That covers a wireless service area, a zone around that primary access point. So within that zone, what can you cover? Well, there's education, residential, small enterprise, lots and lots of applications to sell bandwidth. The Express Wi-Fi platform gives you the tools to sell that bandwidth and leverage that existing investment that you already have in fixed wireless broadband. Community Wi-Fi, same thing, be able to offer tiered services for subscribers. So your subscribers are residential, you give them free access, it's community Wi-Fi, but you can also allow the public access. We give you the tools to do that as well. And then manage those services. I talked earlier about the importance and the need to have multiple paths to revenue. So multiple revenue streams to monetize a Wi-Fi hotspot. This is a key thing. These managed services is very key to monetizing Wi-Fi, and the Express Wi-Fi platform gives you multiple levers to do that. So before we move on and talk a little bit about some of these use cases that we've had, let's go ahead and start one of the polls. And it's going to be a quick poll. It's going to ask you a question. If you could please go ahead and take a look at that. And the question is, do you operate as a service provider, outside of the United States, Canada, and Europe? In other words, are you one of those people that fit into one of these emerging markets? And if so, this is really tied. This is really a perfect presentation for you today. And as I mentioned earlier, if you do operate in North America, Canada, Europe, where Facebook Express Wi-Fi is not available, many of the principles about monetization can really apply to you as well. So we really want to know, what you folks are doing, and let us know afterwards. You reach out to us afterwards. So we have some people that are showing that they don't have business in these emerging markets. Let us know afterwards, because we'd be glad to help and glad to show you help you with some of the other tools that Cambium has. All right, so I'll let that go for just another few seconds, and then we'll move on with our presentation. So do you operate as a service provider outside the United States, Canada, and Europe?
Darren, can I just add one thing here quickly while we're waiting? Yes. So if I can just add to this as well, everyone, if making money from public Wi-Fi was super easy, we wouldn't be having this conversation today. And so I think, just Darren has mentioned this, is what we're trying to do is provide you with as many tools as we can to make you more successful. And if I can give one little analogy, I'm not a huge fan of golf, but golf is a lot harder when you only have one club. And so what we're trying to do when it comes to monetization, we're trying to make sure that you have as many clubs in your bag as possible. And then Darren will talk about it a little more, is to go through that. You get a lot of analytics to help you make important decisions.
Thank you. That's a great analogy, Michael. And it doesn't matter how many clubs are in my bag, I still can't play the game.
Yes. It's still, if you have really, really good golf clubs, it doesn't mean that you're going to be good at golf.
That's right. No, that's a great analogy. Let's put some clubs in that bag. And so some of the first clubs that people use, and this is a use case that's found in Mexico, and actually it's repeated not just in Mexico, but across many, many countries in Latin America. This is really a common application for VSAT broadband network. The requirement here in this particular rural area is to provide community Wi-Fi, a Wi-Fi hotspot for an outdoor market. And so there's a grocery store there in the area that people go to buy their groceries, but there's also an outdoor market. There's stall vendors on the weekends. The farmers in the area bring their foodstuffs in and actually turn it into a farmer's market. So it can have hundreds of people coming into this small village to shop every weekend. So the idea here was to support at least 100 concurrent users per access point, offer some free access at a low bit rate with a limited time to make sure everybody has some connectivity, and then upsell the data packs, upsell to higher speeds, upsell to longer time, and sell those data packs at that grocery store. So that grocery store becomes part of the reseller network. And so the nice thing about the Express Wi-Fi that you'll see as we talk today a little bit more is it's not just a captive portal. It's not just a portal that splashes up on the screen and says, you know, welcome, please use this Wi-Fi. It's also a full business management platform, including the ability to manage that reseller network. So this is the solution that was offered, Facebook Express Wi-Fi plus Cambium Network C and Maestro. And then using satellite broadband wire to Cambium's E500. The E500 is a particular access point. It offers power out, power in and power out. So from one power drop at the top of that store, we can power both the VSAT modem and the access point. They've recently been moving to the E510. It's a little different product, a little bit higher performance, and so they like that one as well now. It's starting to become more popular. So going across the ocean into West Africa, we find some similar type of requirements. In West Africa, one West African country, and again, this is repeated across different countries within the region, they want to connect as many people as possible. And they're not offering, in this case, not offering a free access, but they are offering prepaid data packs in a format that's very familiar. So people are in this part of the world are used to purchasing data packs for cellular service, prepaid cellular service, and other prepaid services. They do this same thing with the Wi-Fi hotspot. So likewise, they sell these vouchers and these prepaid data packs at street vendors and retail shops within the area, within the service area where people are going to be located, and gives them access to any of those hotspots that they want to connect to. Same idea. ISP services in this case are using Cambium's fixed wireless broadband as the backhaul. Sometimes they're using fiber, but most often using fixed wireless broadband, and then connecting it to an E510 Wi-Fi access point. So another one that we talked about earlier, these public-private shared investments, is something that we're very interested in. We've seen some very large opportunities and large programs. One of them we can talk about today is a very common description, up to about 10,000 Wi-Fi hotspots. That's the plan. They're not quite there yet, but that's the plan is to deploy that many across multiple cities and town centers. So in this case, this is a public-private shared investment. The idea is to let's get 10,000 hotspots deployed across our cities and towns. The idea of getting people access to the internet. In this case, the government has mandated that they want 30 minutes for free, funded by the government. That's 30 minutes per day. So every 24 hours, the clock resets, and the subscriber gets that free 30 minutes. That gives them access to resources the government wants them to have access to: education, work, healthcare, government support programs. And then, of course, on the private sector side, the private sector can sell faster speeds and more time. Now, here's an interesting, this is what I like about this particular use case, is this gets into that point that Michael was just talking about, having multiple clubs in your golf bag and multiple ways to generate revenue. In this particular case, they are actually leveraging many different creative ideas to generate revenue from this Wi-Fi network. One of the cool things they're doing is they are selling, or they're marketing to sell a branded SSID. So a brand name, a national name that everybody will recognize. This is not the name, but I'll use this name because you will all recognize it as well. The name could be Pepsi Cola Wi-Fi, you know, free Wi-Fi by Pepsi Cola. And that's a name that people would recognize. And so when they do this, selling a branded SSID, they are choosing these large national names, and because it's immediately recognizable, it has immediate brand loyalty. And actually, a lot of studies on internet marketing show the value can go up as much as 4 times higher. Your advertising rates, your click-through rates can go up significantly higher, up to 4 times higher, if it's a loyal brand that people know and they trust. So using that branded SSID creates a revenue stream, and it also creates a loyalty factor with the Wi-Fi network. On top of that, they sell local business advertising. So in particularly in more dense urban areas, they have access to local businesses that will want to advertise on the platform and use short form videos, 10-second videos, 15-second videos. And again, marketing studies show that 10 to 15-second videos are more effective than 30-second videos. So they keep them short, they keep them quick. They use the Express Wi-Fi platform to create those ads, to push those ads, and then to measure the effectiveness of those ads that they're running in this network. And wherever they don't have local business advertising, they advertise for themselves. They advertise their own residential broadband services, or they advertise with national broadcasting networks. So across the platform, the Facebook platform actually gives them access to a larger pool of ads that they can run. And then, of course, the last item is they can upsell the data plans for faster speeds and longer time. So there's 4 very clear clubs in the bag that these folks can use with this public-private shared investment to drive to lower the cost of deploying all those access points and getting that program going, and then to turn it into multiple revenue streams. Tizeti in Africa has been one of our large partners, been a good partner with Facebook and with Cambium Networks. And so there's a nice press release that Cambium has released. I just took out 1 sentence out of it. I like to take 1 sentence out of a press release and boil it down to just 1 simple statement. And here's what they said: this would have been impossible without Cambium's high performance technology and disruptive economics. So why is that true? So why is it disruptive economics? Well, disruptive because the CN Maestro cloud network management from Cambium is offered at no cost. There is no license fee, no recurring fee. When you sign up to cloud services with CN Maestro, you will never see a bill from Cambium. So you can sign up for it today. You could put it aside and not even look at it for another year, and you'll never receive a bill from Cambium in that time. I hope you don't do that, but that's the key to remember, is that it is offered with no license, no recurring fees. Likewise, the Facebook Express Wi-Fi portal that you get from Facebook, the business management, the element management, the subscriber management, the site management tools, all the data creation tools that you get, advertising, marketing, customer support built into the Facebook Express Wi-Fi portal is also offered with no license. Now, there might be some fees involved for AWS hosting fees and some SMS if you want to integrate with SMS messaging. Some of those are external. Those costs will be external to Facebook Express Wi-Fi. But the Express Wi-Fi portal itself is offered at no cost and no license fee, no recurring fees. So that's why the economics are disruptive. Now, what good is a free service if it doesn't work? That'd be pretty bad, wouldn't it? Oh, we're great price, guys, but it doesn't work at all. Oh, that would be bad. So and so Kendall mentions here, the CEO Tizzetti mentions Cambium's high performance technology, and what he's talking about there is our fixed wireless broadband, and he's talking about our Wi-Fi access points. So Cambium does not have one single product that works in this environment. We have multiple fixed wireless broadband technologies for distances up to 250 meters or kilometers, not meters, kilometers. You go as far as 250 kilometers or as short, or 3.8 gigabits per second at 100 kilometers. So at 100 meters. I didn't say 100 kilometers. So from 100 meters to 250 kilometers, you can get fixed wireless broadband from Cambium. And then our access points, everything from high density 4x4 APs to very small form factor outdoor APs and even micro cell APs that work indoor. Lots of different options, all with the performance needed. So these are some of the things that we have seen around the world that people have done to connect these networks together. So one of the things that we have seen is GPON, right? So in some markets, particularly in Asia, we see a lot of GPON networks strung across aerials. They're not buried underground, but they're strung across aerials. Doesn't look so pretty, but it does work. And so they'll use that network, a GPON fiber backhaul. They'll connect it up to an access point, and they'll get those GPON speeds up to about 2.5 gigabits per second. Another one very common that Cambium sees quite a bit is our fixed wireless broadband, and that's connecting what our ePMP or our PMP product and a fixed wireless broadband network, and then connecting up a Wi-Fi hotspot using one of our subscriber modules to receive that fixed wireless broadband signal. That's a very common network topology we see as well. And your speeds there can be an average of about a gigabit per second at longer distances, up to about 3.8 gigabits per second at the shorter 100 to 150 meter type distances with our new the new product that we just released, the 60 gigahertz multi-gig product. This is ideal for urban and suburban rural environments where fixed wireless broadband may already be in place. So this one also has turned out to be very, very popular using VSAT networks and then VSAT networks mixed with fixed wireless broadband. There's an interesting application right there. Obviously, it's pretty simple to understand. You have a VSAT network, put in a modem, VSAT modem connected up with one-to-one with an access point, and you have a hotspot, you have a Wi-Fi hotspot. Awesome solution for rural towns where there's no infrastructure at all. Some of these towns, they have no cellular service as well. This could be the only broadband access in the entire area. Very simple, easy to deploy, and it can be deployed across large geographies. Then in a little bit larger areas, and we've had some folks now looking at how do I've already had the investment, I have the VSAT modem there, but instead of just serving just one little shopping area, a street market, a farmer's market, a retail store, I want to reach out and put access points into the rural area, into the residential areas around the town. And there are a lot of residential areas that can be covered from a standard Cambium Wi-Fi access point. So what they'll do is they'll connect our fixed wireless broadband to that VSAT modem and redistribute the signal across a larger area, and then use Wi-Fi access points to connect up people in the residential served areas around a central town center. So that's a nice way of mixing both VSAT and fixed wireless broadband. So before we move to the next section, let's jump into one more question here, and just asking, similar to what we asked before, I mentioned before about those different types of different markets, and people even in North America are looking for creative ways. So are you looking for creative ways? Are you looking for ideas that we can help you with to monetize Wi-Fi? Is this going to be important to you? We kind of want to make sure that we're on the right track here, right? We want to make sure that that Michael, that you and I are giving the information that these people want to hear. They probably don't want to hear about Cambium's Wi-Fi access points too much. I think they know a bit about that. But I think you folks really do want to hear creative ways to monetize. That looks good. About 86% looking for creative ways to monetize the Wi-Fi network. So that's good. I think we're on the right track with this. Let's get into this a little bit. Let's talk about the elements of this Cambium network express Wi-Fi, and then we'll be able to help you out a little bit. So first of all, from Cambium, I'll go through this rather quickly. We do have a full set of enterprise class access points, indoor and outdoor. By the way, I didn't mention one of the use cases, indoor MDU and community centers. We do that in Asia, actually. We have several partners in Asia doing indoor Wi-Fi using the Express Wi-Fi platform. So very adaptable technology. So good set of access points, high performance APs, high density, all the way down to small form factor indoor, very small form factor outdoor APs, lots of applications. Pick the right one. They all work with Express Wi-Fi. All right, now this is the cool thing. This is a nice tool. And so Michael, if you want to jump in and correct me if I say wrong, I'd appreciate it. So when talking about sites, I need to pick the site to deploy my Wi-Fi access point. How do I do that? How do I do it? Well, you could just drive around town, look for where people are and say, that could be a good location. Let's do it right there. That's probably a good thing to do. Go ahead and drive around town, take a look. But you might also use Facebook's site analytics. Okay, so using these site analytics from Facebook, you'll be able to understand the density where people are. So you'll have a better idea where to drive when you're looking around to see if people are going to be able to use the system. So it helps you to plan your strategic investment before you spend money on that capital expense. Yeah. Another key part of site selection and site deployment is the installation. And you can imagine in some of these areas, rural or suburban areas, you may not have installers, your own installers on staff to be able to handle these installations. And you may have to rely upon third-party or contract installers. And now, boy, that's a whole new can of worry about, isn't it? How do you manage a third-party installer that you have contracted to install an access point? It could be quite a ways distance. And if they get it wrong, you're on the hook for it. And so Facebook has this installer app, very nice app, because it makes the entire process predictable and repeatable. Predictable and repeatable. That's the key to success here. So you have the app, you give it to the installers, you give them a little bit of training, and they go through the app, they do all the tests required. All the data is now linked into the Express Wi-Fi portal. So you know exactly what they have done, even in that remote location where you're not available to monitor them and to advise them directly. So you can know remotely exactly what the network is doing, testing the bandwidth, the latency, signal strength, all the different characteristics that you need to know to ensure that hotspot deployment has been done correctly by your own installers or by contract installers. Yeah. I like those.
So just one thing to add to that, I mean, thanks, Darren. I think the site vetting tool is probably one of the coolest things that we have with Express Wi-Fi. Is, you know, typically, and everyone will know this, is you kind of go, or we want to deploy, where do we have power? And where do we have a landlord that's willing to let us put an access point somewhere without charging us a ton of money? At least with the site vetting tool, you're starting with an area that you know is economically viable. And so what it will do, it builds out a tool using AI and some of our analytics, and it will, where it comes up with the little green blocks, those are blocks where there are people, but the access that they're getting is not great. So meaning there is cellular coverage there, which is highly oversubscribed, or there isn't cellular coverage there, or there may possibly be Wi-Fi there, but it's an RF nightmare. And so you're starting, when you go in, you know that there are people there, so then you can start with your RF planning.
Excellent. I like that tool as well. When I first saw that, I was quite impressed by that and had to dig into it a little bit more. So what we mentioned earlier about Express Wi-Fi portal is not just a portal, it's not just a captive portal. Those are relatively easy to build. this really is a full business management tool. So another thing, Michael, that you mentioned about the analytics driving the site selection, but also analytics also helps you to understand your business and where you can improve your business, where you can find new opportunities by analyzing the types of subscribers that are connecting to the network, where they connect, how long they connect, what type of data do they use, what kind of traffic do they generate, and they can actually create opportunities by understanding and segmenting these different users. So using this tool, I like the service level agreements. I think that's as an engineer myself, I like the ability to monitor service level agreements, so I know that I'm delivering the level of service that's going to drive the success for the business. Those tools are built into it as well. Create and launch and monitor data packs and promotions. Monitor the data packs and promotions is important because you can launch a program and it could fail, right? It doesn't work. Whatever reason, people aren't buying it. It's not attractive to them. The economics aren't right, or the marketing isn't done well. You'll be able to know that through the tool. So you'll be able to monitor whether your promotions are working and then change them. So I like these ideas, these capabilities, and the ability to segment different users by type, by their ability to pay, by their desire to pay, using Facebook analytics to understand how people are using the Wi-Fi hotspot network. And this creates new opportunities for your business. So some other levers that we have, public access data packs. So data packs are how much bandwidth you can use, and then you have a voucher code. You can use those data packs. Enterprise data packs. You can actually sell data packs in large groups to small businesses, so that they can give them to their workers, so they can have remote access to network services around town. Those enterprise data packs can be recharged using an API, so they can create recurring revenue streams. In some cases, for those enterprise data packs, enables your sales teams to now create ongoing revenue and to just selling the data to the local enterprises, local businesses. The vouchers are time or throughput limit based, so you can create different types of vouchers, different time and throughput limits, and then monitor which ones are the most effective, which ones that people like to buy, which ones that people like to use. Also, site sponsorship and advertisement. These are important levers. Site sponsorship means that the portal is branded. Darren's Coffee Shop, hosting this Wi-Fi access point, this Wi-Fi hotspot for you, and that creates a revenue stream, creates a small revenue stream from the hosting, from the advertising, from that site sponsorship. So these are all different ways that now we can create monetization, multiple revenue streams. Where can you take this? Well, we can take this into MDUs, actually high density housing with Wi-Fi. Actually, we're using Wi-Fi access points to connect up high density housing and MDU applications. They can use these monetization tools there as well and create these recurring revenue streams. Small enterprise broadband. And of course, we talked quite a bit about this freemium model, freemium plus upsells for outdoor and indoor Wi-Fi business. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the mechanics of the. All right, good. I'm going to talk about the mechanics of Express Wi-Fi. You might be wondering at this point, how does Cambium manage this process? What do you need to do? So really, there's 5 easy steps. So first of all, we want to sign up to get your free cloud services. Okay, so free cloud management, you can sign up to cloud.cambiumnetworks.com. If you haven't done so already, do so right now. Right at the end of, well, not right now. Keep listening to this webinar. At the end of this webinar, go ahead and go to cloud.cambiumnetworks.com and get signed up. As I mentioned earlier, you'll never see a bill from Cambium, so it's worth your time. It's worth the 2 minutes it takes to sign up for a free cloud account. That is CN Maestro, Cloud Network Management. Then sign up to be a Cambium Networks XWF Express Wi-Fi service provider. So go to that link, cambiumnetworks.com, Wi-Fi / what does it say there? Express Wi-Fi by Facebook. So go to that link, become a Cambium Networks XWF service provider. And Olivia actually just sent out a little handout. And so these 5 steps are repeated in that handout, so you don't have to frantically write these things down. The little handout she sent, the little PDF, actually has the same information repeated. So the first 2 things you do really are no investment on your part. That's our investment on our part. That's the investment that Cambium Networks is making in you, and that's the investment that Facebook is making in you and your business. So go ahead and get signed up. Now, you do have to buy an access point. Got to have an access point. You got to have something. You got to have some hardware here somewhere. Now, Cambium will offer you at an NFR, not for resale, a super low price, not for resale, because we want to get the access point into your hands in your lab so you can set it up and test it and you can see how it works yourself. So a couple of recommendations from me personally, my personal recommendation, indoor, go with the E600, low cost, 4x4, high density. You're going to love that thing. Fantastic range performance. It's the top of its class in terms of range and performance. Outdoor recommendation, E510. Again, same thing, top of its class in terms of performance and transmit power, receive sensitivity. So these are 2 very, very good access points that you'll like to use and like to test with. And you can get those from the Cambium distributor. In fact, in the handout that Olivia sent, there's also a URL there, so you can find out where you can locate a distributor in your region to get that NFR, that not for resale Cambium AP. And then purchase a Cambium Care Pro license. It's very low cost. It's just a few dollars. So it's extremely low cost, but this gives you access to our 7x24 support services that are specifically going to be able to help you set up your CN Maestro account. And they're going to help you set up your Express Wi-Fi account and answer questions about that. So go ahead and get that. It's a very, very small investment. And then we're working on some nice training material so that you can, if you don't have to talk to a person, you can do it on your own and walk through the system yourself. So those are your 5 steps to get started with Express Wi-Fi. Yeah, there you go. There's your Cambium Care support licenses starting at $5. So that's, and go down from there. On CN Maestro. CN Maestro is our cloud management, multi-site. That means multi-site means literally what it means, thousands of sites across the geography. That's Wi-Fi access points, Ethernet switches, fixed wireless broadband, all from the same single pane of glass. Powerful solution. Up to 10,000 managed devices you get for free. No license, no recurring fee. Beyond 10,000, we do charge a fee as you get up to larger numbers of managed devices. But up to 10,000, it is included. I circled in red exactly where you have to configure the Facebook Express Wi-Fi portal. There it is. Pretty simple. And again, our support staff will walk you through that and answer some of the detailed questions and things you can do to optimize that and do some any particular questions you may have about it. But it's simple. External page URL directed over to Express Wi-Fi, and then go on to complete the management of configuration of that network and provisioning. So Michael, when I looked at Express Wi-Fi portal, and I've started playing around with this earlier this year, one of the things I noticed, Michael, is that it's a very, very comprehensive product. There's a lot going on there, and I admit I got lost. I got lost in it. There's so much going on, but here's how I break it down. So Michael, if you want to jump in and help me to understand a little bit better, I'd always appreciate that as well. Basically, folks, what I see is across the top bars, those tools are the tools that you use to plan and deploy your network. Save your planning results. This is the infrastructure across the top. And this is where you're going to add customers, you're going to add your hotspot locations, you're going to configure the network for ads. Here we go. We're going to configure the network, configure ads, offers, promotions, data packs, all across the elements across the top bar. So some of the things we talked about, Michael was talking about the site selection tool, driven by the Facebook analytics. That you're going to find that under Insights. You're going to manage your data packs under those tools, under configuration. You're going to manage your retailers, the people that you're going to be using to sell these data packs in your environment, all from across that top bar.
So just quickly on that as well, is it what we have is the what we call XPP, so Express Wi-Fi Partner Portal. It's pretty intuitive, but it's also not. So and I say that because once you sort of figure out the logic behind it, it's actually relatively easy to find your way around. So once you've signed up and you've got access to XPP, you would then click on configure, where it's going to start you off, and it's going to say to you, you have to do 9 steps in the process to get live, and it'll say, these are what the steps are, this is how many you've completed, and then once you've got to that point, it will then drive you forward. So again, documentation and support, everything that you need is there. You click on it, and as I say, like some of them you'll go, oh, I'm looking for support documents. Let me go to documents, and you won't find it there. But then if you click on support, then you will. So it's kind of all there. And then, as Darren said, if you click on locations, it will take you into a pretty cool GUI, and it will show you where your hotspots are, and you can dive all the way into the actual AP layer. So you've got a whole lot of it. And then, we have other programs in this as well. One of them is Jumpstart. So, what that is Jumpstart goes, I'm going to give someone free data for a week and see if we can entice them to become a paying customer. So you can pretty much play around with it. And when Darren says you can customize it, it's time-based, it's data-based. This is literally, you can do whatever you want to. I don't think we have quite yet, because I know in some countries it's illegal for data to expire. So I don't think we have an option to set the time limit to infinity, but you could set it to 99 years if you wanted to, for example. So there's a lot of tools that you can try. And even when it comes to low performing hotspots, again, which is pretty intuitive, you then click on that and it will show them where they are. And you dive into it even further, and then you can use that to start making decisions. So, you can go, well, people generally purchase data on the 1st and the 16th of every month. So you can go, okay, they get paid twice a week, and when they get paid, they're buying data. So if we run a bi-weekly special to try, so you've got a ton of options and things that you can play around with in XPP.
Yeah, and so Michael, this is what I've been doing when I'm playing around with the Express Wi-Fi. Is I've spent most of my time after my setup here on the left-hand side. I want to click on retailers. I want to know how my reseller network is performing, because I want to sign people up to resell my data packs. I want to make sure that they are being successful. So click on retailers to do that. I like to look at my SLAs to make sure that my access points are delivering the service that I've said I want them to do. If the APs aren't working, folks, it doesn't matter how many data packs are out there, people can't get online, right? So I like to click on my SLAs. That's an important one. Low performing hotspots is good as well. It identifies where my site selection has been good, or it's been or it could be optimized. And then of course the revenue trends under sales, being able to identify opportunities. Those are kind of 3 I tend to look at, 3 or 4: retailers, SLA, sales. Those are kind of my top 3. But they all have useful data to manage the business. So manage the business from the Express Partner Portal. That's the end of our presentation today, and I want to thank you all for joining. Of course, again, sign up for free cloud management at cloud.cambium networks. Sign up to be a Cambium Network Express Wi-Fi by Facebook service provider partner. So take care of that today right after this webinar. Let us know if you have any additional questions, and then we'd be glad to reach out and share with you some of these use cases and some of the configurations that these people have done to be successful in their different markets. So, folks, I appreciate your time. It's been about 45 minutes today, so I'll return back a few minutes of your day. And I thank you very much for joining. Michael, any final comments or thoughts for us?
No, I just wanted to say, thank you everyone for spending some time with us. And I'm sure a lot of you are asking, why is Facebook doing this? But so let me preempt that and explain that to you. And it's part of our broader initiatives with Facebook connectivity. So our strategy is bringing more people online to a faster internet, and we're trying to help partners make it easier to monetize public Wi-Fi. So just preempting the question as well, no one is using a Facebook login. Facebook doesn't have access to the user's personal data, so all of the authorization is via MAC-Auth, so we don't know who they are. And so, as I say, thank you for your time. Feel free to sign up. I look at this as there's no cost for this from a cloud-based solution. So your investment would be in buying an NFR kit, and after that you're pretty much free to try something apart from an investment of time.
That's an investment I think we can make. So again, yeah. Thank you all very much for joining us. And Olivia, thank you for helping us host this this presentation today. And folks, you have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.
Yeah. Thanks everyone. Bye-bye.